Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. Our top story tonight, it is official. 2,000 gallons of radioactive waste will be making its way through Spokane to disposal facilities in Texas and Utah next year.
That's despite pushback from Spokane city leaders. KREM 2's Christian Garza has been following this story since it broke. So Christian, what can you tell us?
Yeah, what we know as of right now is that this is part of a greater project to get all of that toxic waste out of Hanford. Now, this new route through Spokane was recently approved by the U.S. Department of Energy, despite city leaders writing letters opposing it.
It poses a significant risk. It's one that we want to avoid.
Back in September, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown sent a letter to state leaders urging them to reconsider this initial plan to bring this waste from the Hanford nuclear site in the Tri-Cities through Spokane. City council leaders joined her in an effort to prevent future transportation of millions of gallons of hazardous waste.
I'm disappointed that they have said, well, we're just shipping it that way and you don't have a say.
County Commissioner Amber Waldriff, who also serves on the Hanford Advisory Board, says she told city leaders about the plan before the route was finalized. She says while it isn't the outcome the city was hoping for, this has opened the door to more dialogue between city and state leaders.
But I'm hopeful that in the next 3 years, before they ship more, that we have a say in what that's going to look like for all the different types of waste that they want to remove from the site.
In response to Mayor Brown's letter, the Washington Department of Ecology clarified what it called misunderstandings about the future projects. In the letter, the Department of Ecology says there is a difference between this plan and Hanford's long-term cleanup plans. The Testbed Initiative, which is the current project to ship 2,000 gallons of pre-treated liquid waste from Hanford to disposal sites in Andrews, Texas and Clive, Utah. The department says it's basically a test run that went through a robust public approval process. The second project is part of a bigger agreement between the Department of Energy, Ecology, and the EPA to treat waste from 22 underground tanks at Hanford that will start no earlier than 2028. However, I'm told the Department of Energy has not made any decisions yet on potential routes. A Hanford site spokesperson for the Department of Energy says the waste is expected to be treated by the end of this year and transported sometime next year via trucks in government-regulated totes. We now know that it will be 2 separate 1,000-gallon shipments. In a fact sheet sent with the letter to Mayor Brown, the Department of Energy says if there were to be a severe accident along the route, the radiation exposure for a person would be less than that of a single abdominal X-ray.
It's a wonderful opportunity, and I think we need to treat it like that, an opportunity for us to come together, to learn, and to do better, and to figure out how to be in support of the cleanup and do it safely.
Now, that letter says that the Department of Ecology has requested a meeting with Mayor Brown to discuss this plan. Now, I also did reach out to Mayor Brown's office, but she said that she was unavailable because she is still evaluating this letter from the Department of Ecology. Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
All right, Christian, thank you very much. Time to talk weather now. After a frosty start to the morning, the sunshine dominated the forecast. However, some windy changes heading our way.
Yes, let's learn more about that with our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
Really the only thing keeping this from becoming a full-on windstorm, this is Thomas Patrick's exact words, is the low pressure core weakens as it approaches, which is incredibly accurate. If it did not weaken or if it did strengthen, we would be talking a major wind event. But instead, this storm is weakening. It looks pretty potent right now as it moves in, so wind is still going to happen. And we're talking enough that we have blowing dust and increased fire danger. So just be aware of it. Wind looks to pick up early in the afternoon and blow through the evening. Our blowing dust advisories and wind advisories run from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. tomorrow, mainly for central and eastern Washington and down through the Palouse. However, on top of that, it is going to be dry. So we have red flag warnings that stretch from, say, Grand Coulee through Spokane down through the Palouse. The storm sits off the coast, but we will see it tomorrow. Wind picks up around noon. We will eventually see a round of showers later in the day, and as those move through, we will eventually see the wind die down. We top out in the 60s tomorrow, 60s again Saturday as everything calms down.
All right, Jeremy, thank you. Well, it has been a very busy construction season, but with the weather shifting from summer to fall, we could see the last few projects starting to wrap up.
Over the last few months, the city of Spokane has worked on more than 40 different road projects. That includes street maintenance, pedestrian improvements, and major projects like the one we've seen at Cheney Spokane Road. That ultimately required crews to go underneath the road and improve utilities in that area. And just within the city limits of Spokane, there are 2,200 lane miles the city has to maintain.
So that takes time, and it has to be done over a period of time. There's no way we can get it all done at one time. And this year has been challenging. We've had some very challenging detours, and we understand that. But especially in Northeast Spokane, where you had, Bigelow Gulch with the county being done, the North Spokane corridor being done with WashDOT, and then we needed to do some work to tie into those projects as well.
But she says there is light at the end of the tunnel. City officials say the last major project for this season with the most impact is the Washington-Stevens corridor.
So we're looking at just a few more weeks of construction. End of October, start of November is when crews will officially be wrapped up for the season. More than 400 new homes are coming to the Latah Valley area. This after the city's hearing examiner approved the development this week, but with conditions.
In our ongoing Boomtown series examining the growth of our region, KREM 2's Amanda Rowley shares why this project is moving forward despite the city's building moratorium on new projects in that area.
The City of Spokane's hearing examiner gave developers the okay to build 425 homes right here on this site in Latah Valley. The future Marshall Creek Estates is about 121 acres and located west of Highway 195.
Down Cheney Spokane Road, things are on the quieter side. With the exception of a few home projects Leland Smith is working on.
A little shed for the hay.
It's hay for his goat and family of sheep.
I think the mom's pregnant now, so we might have another baby lamb.
But this little family isn't the only thing growing in Latah Valley. Plans are moving forward to build 425 homes just down the road, adding hundreds of new neighbors to the area.
I'm afraid when that development comes in, it's going to really change.
The Spokane hearing examiner's approval of the Marshall Creek Estates comes during the city's one-year moratorium for any new projects in the Latah Valley area. This went into effect last spring, but the moratorium excludes applications already submitted, which is the case with this project. Applications and fees were completed in 2020. Still, the development is approved with conditions. They include requiring the developer to build a roundabout on Cheney Spokane Road, an improvement Leland welcomes.
I think it's needed because right now I know when we had traffic coming through from the closure of I-90, it was backed up all the way to my driveway. It's like a mile back.
A WashDOT traffic study says the project is expected to add 72 trips each morning and 33 trips each evening to the I-90 on-ramp from Highway 195. Developers are now required to pay for improvements to that area.
I think it's too much development for out here.
While Leland prefers the peace and quiet here, he's hoping the changes that continue to come to Latah Valley won't take too much of that quiet away.
It's just something that I've kind of adapted to and have been just going along with it the best I can.
Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.